Welcome back to Jurassic Park 30, our fictional scenario in which Jurassic Park has been rebuilt and actually got 30 years old. Last episode we did the visitor center, and today we speak about, well, security issues. As we know, the original park did not have the best security concept, even though it was quite a big concept. So expect a lot of talks about the original security concept, a lot more than we see in the film actually, a lot more from the novels and a lot more from what could have been improved anyways. And we speak a lot about this new security concept that I'm envisioning for my park. So we need to first of all talk about all the problems that led to the catastrophe of the events of 1993, or in the novels, different year obviously, but from the first events on Isla Nublar. We do know that for the time being, Mr. Crichton has had a wonderful knowledge of the current state of the technology. So the security concept of Jurassic Park was by any means a bad one. It was just very linear and very human made. And if you compare that to the chaos theory that Ian Malcolm comes in all the time with, and we also have to speak a lot about the chaos theory today, there were a couple of issues in that obviously could not be solved by making fences bigger or ditches wider or cameras better. There's a different factor we have to speak about later, and this factor is the main driver for my security program. You will see the design of the fence, but I'm going to talk about this a little bit more in the later part of the video, so please keep in mind these wonderful spikes over here, or spines I should say, over here, as you can see, where I'm putting in these little what is that? Is it gray? Is it metal color? These kind of metal colored connectors over here with these splines in between. Keep them in mind. We are going to talk about them in a bit. But first of all, let's keep on talking about the security concept of the original park. So just to give you a brief overview for those of you who maybe don't know the novels, there is a lot more than what you see in the movie. So in fact, they had a system in which the animals are always counted, and they have this all based on an AI model, more or less, a very, 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 very early one, which uses the cameras and the movement detectors in the park, also actually the motion sensors in the park. So they were having a two-factor, it's kind of modern, if you will, a two-factor security system in which they had the movement and the vision of the camera. So they had cameras all over the park that were filming the animals, and then at the same time you had all these kind of motion sensors, and with those things the system constantly checked the number of animals. And since, well, actually everyone was bred as a female, and they even had a system, which again is something never mentioned in the movies, but there was a system that once they leave a certain area of the island, they will not get a certain food which is required to keep them alive, because there's something in the food that they have to get in order to survive, because they did, when creating the animals, they left out a certain, I forgot what it was it a bacteria or was it a certain protein? I don't know, but something that they require to live that is not available in normal food. So they just have to have the food from the park, and so it was impossible for them to survive. Well, in fact, they thought at least. And then we have the fences and stuff. One problem the movie didn't show, and this is funny because there is a continuity problem with the movie. There is a big movie mistake in Jurassic Park, the original, and the movie mistake is, funny enough, a mistake that is basically leading to one of the missing features from the security concept. So every habitat or every area, especially of the carnivores, has not only the fence, but there is a 10-meter concrete ditch in before the fence, which is 10 meters deep and also 10 meters wide, like it's almost like a riverbed, if you will. It's kind of ridiculously big. So the first situation where the T-Rex approaches the fence from behind and where the goat is in the movie is basically unrealistic, because the animal could never come that close with the ditch. And then in the later stage, when the car falls down and so on, you can obviously see the ditch, because they actually fall down into this concrete area down there where Lex is hiding in one of the openings for what is that? Is it actually a canal or something like that? So that makes a lot of sense that this was there, but it was a continuity mistake because this wasn't there in the previous scene. So they just kind of changed this, I guess, later on. And if you know then about the film locations, you will know that the island of Kauai from the Hawaiian Islands was the preferred spot to film. And they had a situation where they filmed there, but then there was a huge hurricane, like a tropical storm, come in, and every set was destroyed. So they had to move on to another area, and in fact also to Universal Studios. And so they reshot the second part of the T-Rex scene because the first part was already filmed on Kauai Island. And in fact also the rain effects, many of the rain effects are not even effects. They actually took footage from Kauai during that storm, which was super dangerous for the film crew and so on. But this is why they got so amazing shots for that time, which obviously got a lot of attention in the media and so on because it was so good for the movie. But yeah, speaking of that, we are also going to have a look into this in real time, by the way, later on. So don't worry if you think you missed something on screen. Over here we do like a cable connection because we do still have cables, obviously. But I'm going to talk about that more. So with that all said, the security system of Jurassic Park was pretty decently thought out, but it relied on very human-made, very straightforward technology where everything had to work, and if one of the factors didn't work, we had an issue. So what Ian Malcolm says, that the closer you get to chaos, the closer you get to the border of the chaos, then the more linear it all becomes. And it's funny though, because the problem is, and linear by linear I mean is the more linear the chaos becomes, like the catastrophe that is coming. And then there was even the Malcolm effect, which means that at a certain point everything is going to crash, no matter if it's not. And it's just said that a tiny change can basically bring everything to fall, no matter how well thought out it is. And the problem of that is that all the factors you factor in are somewhat expectable, and the humans try to get control over it. So if you've read the novel, they are stressing the facts so often that they have everything under control again, and then certain other things don't work out because they have overseen one very obvious thing. So it's very hard to explain. So let's just move on to my solution. So obviously, we could have gone in and say bigger, better, blah, blah, blah. But that's not the point. So the fences were not too tiny. The security idea with, electricity was not the wrong one. Not having ditches or having ditches was also a decision they took, and actually having ditches makes a lot of sense. So there were a lot of things that were already pretty much the right thing to do. However, everything was linear and man-made. The system was man-made. And my solution was the same solution that is used in aviation, or like in the overall flying industry. It is a chaos factor that you're factoring in. It is a factor that you have no control of. That, I mean, for a security concept sounds very weird, doesn't it? But let me just give you an example. So, commercial air flights became very popular during the 90s. And during the 90s, the technology evolved so quickly that at a certain point, GPS became so precise that the altitude of airplanes all of a sudden became very similar. So if they said 10,000 feet above ground, usually the years before it was something between 10,000 and 11,000, because GPS and all the sensors and so, they weren't so good. So there was always a factor of uncertainty or whatever. Like it was a little bit of a randomization by default because the technology wasn't good enough. But as the technology became better, there were a lot of very dangerous situations in which there were almost crashes of airplanes, and I think there were even 2 or 3 times a crash happened between 2 airplanes because of the fact that both were on their right target destination and path. However, the path was exactly at the same altitude, exactly at the same point, and then they, came too close. And the thing is that the only chance they saw to solve that was erasing the human factor. Now, because the first idea they had is, okay, why not then give every flight path a individual height altitude between 11,000 feet and 9,000 feet, for example. But apparently everyone wanted to have the optimum. So the optimum is somewhat around 10,000 feet then, depending on winds and blah, blah, blah. And so they had to judge what is the optimum or not. And then some people came and said, you know what, that is too dangerous, because what if people make a mistake? What if the people in the tower made a mistake and give two airplanes the exact same flight path and the same altitude because they didn't know, let's say the people in, I don't know, Miami don't know what the people in Sydney did, and then you have the problem. Now, they said it's easier if we don't know what exactly is happening, and we put in a chaos factor. It is actually even named chaos factor, and what that does, it does randomize the flight altitude between a certain corridor, and this is exactly what my security concept is based on. It is going to be based on a chaos factor. So we will have a lot of different inputs that are used to A, create energy, B, create security with the fences, C, make sure how the tour is going to be guided. This very thing in the middle over here, as you can see right now, is going to be a rotation platform in which the vehicles are put on a different route according to, well, you guessed it, a chaos factor. So this is not a planned route. Every time the car goes in, the system randomly decides on which route it's going to put the car. The route is not going to be mighty different, you will see it. In fact, it's not really different. It's just to avoid a certain element of linearity. For example, raptors could basically obviously learn about that, but also other animals would learn. And just in general, the overall system would become too linear and too obvious. So this is why we factor in a chaos factor. And remember these splines we talked about earlier in the fence, like at the very beginning of the episode. We had a fence design in which there were certain connectors between those major horizontal beams. Now these things can move. They are put onto a little engine, like electricity motor, and they can be moved. So the overall structure of the fence can be actively changed. They can be pulled outwards, they can be pulled inwards, they can change their pattern. So that's the basic idea. So the whole system can randomly decide how the fence is laid out. So sometimes you have the splines looking upwards, then they're looking downwards, then they're facing outwards, then they're facing inwards. They can even do some ridiculous other things. So everything is laid out so that there is a random factor that possibly could keep the whole system obviously alive, and it can always take different inputs to adjust if something goes wrong. That is my base idea to the whole security system. So you will see for the entire project that everything I'm building in terms of security will be made in a very similar way that the original Jurassic Park has been built. However, it's gonna use always some inputs, not only one, but actually some inputs, so that we can ensure that no one really knows what exactly is going on. I know that might sound very strange for like a Jurassic Park where a potential list of lethal animals is roaming around almost free, but hear me out. I think this is the only way how you could get this done. We will obviously bring in a lot more modern factors. We are going to experiment something with drones. We are also going to have a replica of the Boston Dynamics Spot. I'm a big fan of Spot, by the way. And this is also why I think Camp Cretaceous had some very good insights when it comes to the robotics, even though I do hate them in Camp Cretaceous. It's kind of taken away the Jurassic Park vibe for me, but the idea to just have robots in there as well makes a lot of sense in my opinion. However, you just need to go in and do something about the design and stuff. I'm gonna do a Spot design that is very much connected to the Jurassic Park original design of the Jeep, for example. Speaking of the Jeep, the one I've used in here is made by the wonderful Best in Slot. Mate, if you're watching this video, this is a fantastic work you've done there. I remember that he said, it's not the best, blah, 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 but it is a fantastic vehicle. I've changed just a couple of little things to adjust the proportions for my needs, but overall it's a fantastic model. And also kudos to my friend Lider. He has done the insanely well designed Jurassic font, and I'm going to use this one obviously because I'm too lazy to do my own one, and I don't need to because he's already done the perfect job for me. But yeah, I think it's time to jump in game and show you around. It's just a little area, but I'm going to explain how this is continuing in the future. So I see you at the other side of the cut. Alright, so here we are in the file, and as you can see, first of all, I just want to mention one thing. The last update of Prehistoric Kingdom was amazing, and finally everything looks fine. We don't have the issues with the anti-aliasing anymore, which is great, because I've changed a couple of things, and also they've fixed the bug with the grass, so you don't see the shadow of the individual grass pieces anymore, which I think is a huge optimization, because that was really annoying. But yeah, this is, as you can see, my basically my template. This is the template where we are going into the tour. So just to give you the overview, this is where the visitor center is located, and this is just going to be the first entrance. The other entrance is going to be somewhere over here behind that river, and then we will have multiple gates in between. So the main idea is that this area over here is going to be herbivores anyways. The same goes over here. This is going to be the sauropod area. There's going to be some other herbivores. And then we are going to go over here to all the way to the back. And this is where the carnivores will be. Also, this is pretty close to how Isla Nublar really is laid out in the tour. So obviously we are going to stick with what we already got. This dock over here has a wrong location, but no matter, this just has to be here for several reasons. I'm going to explain once we approach that. And this is already kind of a nice little hilly area we are going to have. This is somewhere where the T-Rex is going to be, the Dilophosaurus, if we want to do them, will go here, and the raptors will become the biggest issue, because they never really had a pen. I mean, there was one planned, but you know, I have certain ideas for them. If we will get them in the game, there will be a very special episode. But let me just quickly show you the security concept, how actually it's working. So this is what I said. This is the pieces, and if you go in and you, for example, select those two, just as an example, you could imagine that they can individually move. As you can see, they could just go here and connect to the upper ones. The gizmo is a little bit broken, but you can actually tell how this would work. So they will connect to the other connectors up here, and then just change the pattern. So this open spot then could be solved with the other one going up and down, leaving the open layer open, leaving the lower area open. There are a couple of opportunities, but it could also just use one spine, for example, over here, and just put that one to the back or to the front, just to, you know, make it a bit more dangerous for animals to go against it. Like, for example, if they just try to bump themselves against the fence, they could just move these pieces to give them a little bit of a different feeling once they approach the fence, and without hurting them too much, apparently. But yeah, that's that. And then we got this wonderful little security area in here. Apparently, they could like easily jump on top here. This would be not the area in which the first security level is. We will have something that closes off here. That's going to be done as well, and we are going to have like a second fence layer that is going to go around here, because these paths will be followed. So the idea is the car goes in, and then it's going to go to this platform, and as you can see over here, now the actual randomization just said that the car is going to go here. Apparently this gate would be closed at the beginning too, so that no one knows. It goes up here, just there, and then turns around to either of the sides, and then just approaches the gate goes out, opens, and car goes out, and so on and so forth. We have got the security gate in which they can get in. Also, let me just quickly get out of this view and go in here, and just really quickly, because that annoys me, go to, wait, where's the texture paint tool? Am I stupid? Oh, there you go. No, wait, am I stupid? Where is it? This is the water, this is the terrain tool. Oh, there you go, it's in here. I'm stupid. Okay, so let me just quickly get rid of this. There you go, that is better. So yeah, this is exactly how this part of the security concept works. And then we also have these things. They can be extended over here if needed. So these pillars can change their appearance as well. Just go clap to the side or fold to the side, and just, you know, go longer if needed. So they can extend all the way, so to make that even more secure as well. And as I said, we will need a connection in between here. However, I've got some modules I wanted to quickly show you. This is a modular set, and I will be able to share this with you guys as well over the Steam Workshop in the future. If there's anyone who wants this, I'm gonna share this kind of stuff with you. Now, what we do have over here, we've got 3 different modules that actually produce energy. One wind module, that's a bit bigger, a second one that's a bit smaller, and we also have the solar panel, which can actually fold if required. And you can see all of them have fences that are foldable. They are meant to secure these modules if there is someone approaching, whether it be a sauropod or like in a carnivore or whatever. And again, they can just fold together. As you can see, I even made sure that the connectors over here is spared out and can just tuck back in. And this is a general connector that we have of 3 different pins, and then there's the other pin over here. As you can see, this is the connector piece. You can just easily take that one and then connect that to every area where you need it. So for example, let's go here, gonna connect this to this one, just move it up into the position, and boom, it's connected. So this is the idea. So we've got the connection, and apparently it is secured right after the connector. And I will also make a little security element that goes above here, like a kind of a, I don't know, metal plate or something that goes above it. But we will also have some open ones. This is why I designed this in the first place, so that it gives the feeling like you can actually do some maintenance work on them if required. So yeah, this is the modular set you can use, and these pieces obviously can then just be placed everywhere. So the idea why I did it this way is so I don't want to build the whole cable, you know, that would be stupid. But you can just easily go in, plop this one in now. So for example, like so. It's a little bit, this is a little bit higher, the connector is a little bit taller. So in this specific case, you would need to just kind of raise, like put a rock in here, or take the whole thing and just move it down until it's all sunk in. You know, could work like this as well. And then the idea is this is easily connected to that one over here anyway. So yeah, that is the idea, and I think it's a very good idea to have these modules, and so it's very easy to build the fence in the future. I will do a couple of different variants of this one, like a taller, like shorter, and so on, and then I'm gonna share this. And we also have this gate piece, which is also pretty handy because it's not gonna use only here, it's gonna use also in other areas. And yeah, that's the current state of the project. As I said, I will take my time because this is there's also a lot of different research stuff that goes into it, and thinking about how exactly I want to lay out things. I think I have a very good plan now of the layout, so the next episode should actually make a lot more ground and cover a lot more ground. But as I said, I'm not going to hurry, I'm not going to rush. The whole year is anniversary time, so we can actually use the whole year, and so at the end of the year, look at what we've achieved. So until then, I wish you guys a wonderful day. Enjoy your time. Thank you so much for your ongoing support. And if you guys love this project, please make sure to engage the crap out of this video. This would help to show it into the algorithm. Please like, subscribe, and if you just don't like, you can also press the dislike button. No one sees it anyways. It's counted as interaction. It's so weird, by the way. But yeah, it would be super awesome if you then can also just comment something. Please comment, especially which animal we should bring in first. That is something I really love to know. They are just like a placeholder for the moment, but the next episode should definitely feature an animal. So let me know in the comments down below which animal we should put in. And if you have any ideas about viewing areas for them, or security elements, or maybe even enrichment elements, let me know in the comments down below. I'm gonna take all of that inspiration and tie that into this fictional storyline we are doing over here. I'm really looking forward to that. So thank you, as I said, as always, for the ongoing support. Have a wonderful time. Thank you so much again. And if you're not subscribed yet, you better do so. There's more coming in the future. Thank you so much, and goodbye.